Welcome to the awesome. I'm Big Roy and this is Marvel Strike Force. In this video I'm going to be doing a Day 1 climb to Tier 8 in the Drax Blitz. As I go through the climb I'll go over each team and whether they can be used in higher tiers. Now as I do the first part of the climb, some of the teams will be slightly different than I use later on, just so I can use all of the characters. Like I'm going to leave out the 42 power Hydra Armored Guard there, just because I have a odd number of characters instead of 12 even teams. Now at higher tiers I would have the Hydra Armored Guard in there instead of the Kree Oracle, and that team can go all the way up to the third fight in Tier 8. Now the first few fights you can easily auto. You still want to keep an eye on it just in case something crazy happens, but 99 times out of 100 you're going to win that fight on auto easily, no problem. Alright, second team will be my second lowest team. It will be slightly different in higher tiers, just like the first team. It will have the Kree Oracle in there instead of the Shield Trooper. But it's pretty close. It's pretty much an easy win every time. I take that one up to the second fight in Tier 8. You always want to go for that named character at the very low levels because they're so much weaker than the minions down there. So we can auto this fight again, just like the first one. Alright, piece of cake. Alright, moving on to the third fight. It'll still be pretty easy, but I don't think I'm going to auto it just because sometimes it can get a little dicey, just because some of these characters are so bad. We're going to have Ronan in there, who's super slow. And then the AIM guys and girl. They're pretty terrible, but they can still pretty much hold their own in Tier 1, of course. Now, I think I might be able to squeak out another win at a higher tier with this team. We'll have to see, though. Alright, so we'll just do a regular battle, not auto quite yet, just to make sure it's okay. Alright, got that one down. Okay, yeah. This is easy now, so we got this. We can go ahead and turn auto on. Now this team's a little higher in power. It should still be easy enough. Still got to pick the team that looks easy. So you don't want to lose in Tier 1 and lose all that progress. Now this team can't win consistently at higher tiers. I've tried a lot of different times and it rarely works out. So this is going to be the first team that definitely is just used to reset the tier at Tier 8. Now see, the problem with the Hydra Sniper is it's like you never know if you want to use the buff or if you want to take the shot. A lot of the times you want to take the shot, and then what's the point of his buff if you never use it? So he's not really good enough to invest in, from what I've found. Alright, let's just take a little cleanup and this will be over. Alright, on to Tier 2. Alright, now this next team actually overperforms to how I expect it to. The Monstrosity and Iron Fist are actually still quite decent down at this low of a level. And then you got the two tanks to protect them, because because they really need the protection from the tanks to live long enough to do their damage. And then Nebula has all her stuff she does too, with all her evades and counters and everything. But yeah, if you can protect the Monstrosity so he can use the offense up along with the defense down, he can do some good damage. But at like higher tiers, it's not worth the risk. Alright. Let's see, his ultimate still does pretty good down here. Alright, so this was pretty easy. Alright, this next team is a team of leftovers that don't have a real team. I just use them on the climb. I do bring Daredevil down to help them, because at this low level it's still easy enough to have him basically solo everyone, and then this Merc Soldier cleans up anything that's left over. You can't get away with that at higher tiers though, so I move Daredevil up into another team higher up. So of course, this is the only time I use pretty much any of these characters except for Daredevil. Alright, so it's pretty much a cakewalk. Especially when they don't attack Daredevil. Alright, just have annoying Nebula to take care of. Alright, the next team is a team of heroes that is wildly inconsistent at higher tiers. I check what matchup I can get at higher tiers, but I rarely use them because they don't win enough. We're going to pull Punisher down where Daredevil would usually be, just for the climb, and then Punisher doesn't get used at higher levels either. I only really leveled him up for the Blaster Challenge way back when, just so I could clear the higher tiers, and I've cleared all those, so I don't really use him except on the day one climb. And as you can see, I have the double tanks, which doesn't work too well because the Hulk is so slow, so it takes him forever to get his taunt up. So, you can see Black Panther is almost dead already, which actually helps his ultimate. So it worked out in that case, but at higher levels, they take too much damage too fast and they die before we can get a taunt up. So that's why they lose a lot of the time. Looks like we should have this well in hand. And plus there's no buff removal in the teams. That's also why it isn't that good, because you get stuck on a taunt that you have to fight through until it's over, because you can't remove it. So on any good team, you're going to need at least one, preferably two dispels, just so you can get through all the taunts. Alright, we'll just finish them up. Get him, Hulk. Alright, and that's the third fight of Tier 2 on the last one. Alright, now we're getting into the fun teams. This is a full villains team with Kingpin and 3 Hand and Winter Soldier. It works pretty well. It's pretty consistent at the higher tiers. I can do the first fight in Tier 8 most of the time. It is a little slow to get going, but once it gets rolling with all the summons and everything from Nobu and Kingpin, it works really well. Okay, I'm not going to use the ninjas on the first turn because the Punisher's AoE will just kill him, so we're going to wait for the second turn. And we're going to save his ultimate for the offense up from Kingpin. Alright, so we got the crossbones down. Take out the Punisher. Now here come the ninjas, or ninja. Alright, got him down. Alright, now I'm going to do the ultimate. Alright, actually hit. Actually, I probably should have done that on Elektra, because Spider-Man dodges all the time, like so. But it worked out this time. That's why I rarely like to face Spider-Man at tier 8, because of his dodges. He dodges 2, 3, 4 times. I can lose the fight for you if everyone else is still left. And that is why Kingpin is such a good counter to Wolverine. Like, their speed is so close that when you use Kingpin's summon, then Wolverine's AI will then use his ultimate on that taunting summon. So yet another reason Wolverine isn't that good in this game, which sucks because he's my favorite. Alright, so on to tier 3. Alright, on to my next team, which is a team of high-level leftovers, just so I can get my Night Nurse in on Blitz. This team isn't good enough to win at the higher tiers, so this is the only time I use it. It's when I can use my Wolverine, Night Nurse, Thor, and Thanos, and I'll put Doctor Strange in there. The only one I use in higher level teams is the Doctor Strange sometimes as a substitute, if there is a lot of good buffs to flip. Alright, we'll go with this one here. We can flip the defense up. If Strange survives, he is quite squishy. That's why he usually works best with like a Drax or someone else that can taunt fast. Not so much Thanos, because Thanos' taunt is pretty slow to get up. Now we finally have it up now. Alright, let's flip those buffs. That is the best part of Strange right there, flipping all of those buffs. Alright, Daredevil's just going to fall over from the bleeds, which is my favorite thing in the world. So we don't have to hit him anymore. Alright, we're going to throw the hammer. Alright, let's try to take him out. There we go. And we'll heal it up. Then we'll stun it up. Then we'll heal it up. Alright, pretty easy. Alright, next up is my C team, with Bullseye in the middle slot. Sometimes I have Doctor Strange in that slot, depending on the matchup. But pretty much Deadpool and Cable carry the load, and then Hand Sentry is there for the evades and stealth. It works pretty well. I win most of the time in the first fight of tier 8 with this team. Oh, that's a juicy fight right there. We're taking that one. Yeah, so this is going to be a blowout. There's no tank on the other team. I don't know what they were thinking with this team, but especially with Bullseye to blow through it. He gets a bad rap for being squishy, but if you can get protection on him, he can do a lot of damage. Alright, to get the regeneration from that skill. Yeah, just mowing through these. Alright, now we're going to use the Cable Deadpool team-up skill. And that happens so often. Literally no health left, but it wasn't enough to kill him to get the speed bars refilled. Oh well. We still easily won this one. Alright, on to the third fight. And my B team. Alright, now my B team. I'm using Hawkeye this time, but sometimes I use Bullseye, or even Thor sometimes. I've used him in there, in that spot, and it still works. This is also my second most consistent team, so I always win the first fight in Tier 8 with this team. Alright, we're going to go against this team here. Now see, Korath's good in a lot of different ways. He can get the heal block, so if there's like a Night Nurse on the other team, you know, her heal is useless on that first turn. And then he can put taunt on an enemy character. So that can help you get around taunts, like if you have Thanos on the other team, you know, like only 2 characters can remove his taunt. So what you can do, you can put a taunt on a squishy that you want to take out, and then Thanos does his taunt, but then you can attack the squishy still. Plus he has the big nuke, and then slow on his basic. So Korath's really good. Little squishy, but other than that, he's very good. Alright, and my Drax is pretty low level power wise, because I only leveled up his taunt. I'd hardly even leveled up his attacks, because he's there for his first turn taunt, or his pre-taunt, and then his first turn taunt. So his 2 taunts, and if he does anything else, you know, it's just bonus. He just lets everyone else do their thing. Alright, we just gotta finish off Hulk. Alright, there we go. On to the last fight, and my A team. Alright, on to my A team. Now, if I was going super hardcore in the Blitz, I'd be using some of my lower team's charges on them to build the multiplier even more. If I go super hardcore, I can get to Tier 8 in the very first run before any refreshes, by using a lot of charges, but you have to have a lot saved up so you can have the charges for the next 2 days. But since it's a Drax Blitz and I don't care, and I don't think anyone else does, we're just going to go with the A team to get to Tier 4. I could probably almost auto this, but we'll still do it the correct way. But yeah, my A team it's like 117k power, and it's beating 151k power teams at the last fight of Tier 8. This is by far the best team. And I can actually beat the top guy in my arena who has a 138k team most of the time with this team. So I take first place a lot of days. Alright, this will be just about over. There's the earthquake, and we'll finish him off. Oh, one more. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that is the first 3 tiers. Let's see. Now, I'm going to try to keep my charges like as close to 500 as possible, so I can just be ready for the next Orb Blitz and the character Blitz after this, or after the Orb Blitz. So I'm just going to use as many charges as I need to so I can still claim the ones from the challenges without losing them. So we're just going to do another fight with the A team. We'll just blow right through it. And with this A team, basically, I don't fear any team. If any team doesn't have a Black Widow, then I take that fight and I win pretty much every time. Just because the speed up is so good. So that's why everyone needs to get Black Widow however you can. Alright, we just blew through that one, no problem. Alright, so I just fought 3 more times with my A-team to get it up to tier 5. You don't need to see the fights because I basically mow them down. You're not going to learn anything from that. That's all I needed to do to claim the challenge charges, blitz charges, so that I could be up around 500 still. Alright, so that was all my teams for the first run. I'm going to wait for the refresh to do tiers 5, 6, and 7. That'll be in the next video. This is just part 1. I'll be doing part 2 with the next tiers because this has already been long enough. Oh, there are still the milestones I have to claim. You can claim them up to 24 hours after it ends. So I have all those blitz charges to use after the reset. Alright, thanks for watching. Leave any questions in the comments. And until next time, stay tuned and stay awesome.